Shalom, my friends. I am Rabbi David, and today I am going to share with you what happened in the 5 minutes after my heart stopped beating. I am going to reveal what I saw in the moments that I was clinically dead, and what the soul many call Jesus revealed to me on the other side, a truth so profound, so earth-shattering, that it will completely dismantle everything you thought you knew about God, religion, and the very fabric of reality. This is not a story. This is a testimony, and it is the key to unlocking a level of peace and power you have been denied your entire life. But before I take you on this journey into the light, I need you to make a declaration of courage. Go to the comments right now and write, "I am ready for truth." This is not just a comment. It is a spiritual contract. It is you signaling to the universe that you are ready to shatter the illusions that have held you captive. Our mission here is to gather an army of 100,000 souls dedicated to reclaiming this spiritual technology for humanity. If you are ready to be one of them, subscribe to this channel now. And for those who are truly serious about accelerating their journey, for a limited time, I am opening the doors to the Torah Millionaire Business School for just $299. This is where I unveil the complete system for spiritual and financial sovereignty. The doors are closing soon. The link is in the comments. Now, let us begin. I understand the feeling of being trapped between worlds, because I was once a prisoner there myself. It was not a prison of debt or of sickness in the conventional sense. It was the ultimate prison, the prison of the body itself. 5 years ago, I was a man who thought he had it all figured out. I had a thriving community, a beautiful family, and a deep connection to the holy texts I had studied my entire life. I was a master of the text, a pillar of my community. I could quote chapter and verse to defend any position, but I was also carrying a hidden weight. The weight of certainty, the arrogance of believing my path was the only path, my interpretation the only truth. It was a subtle poison, a spiritual pride that made my heart hard, and the universe, in its infinite wisdom and its profound hesed, its loving kindness, decided it was time for a lesson. It happened on a Tuesday. I remember the specific, mundane details with a clarity that haunts me to this day. The taste of my morning coffee, slightly too bitter, the sound of my children laughing in the other room, a sound I took for granted. I was in my study, a room lined with the sacred books of my ancestors, preparing a lecture on the absolute uniqueness of the Jewish covenant. I was building walls with my words, and then a pressure began to build in my chest. It was not a sharp pain. It was a deep, crushing weight, as if the entire library was pressing down on me. The weight of all those words, all that dogma. I tried to stand, but my legs buckled. I remember the side of my face hitting the cold wooden floor. The last thing I saw was the dust motes dancing in a sunbeam, each one a tiny, perfect world. The last thing I heard was my wife screaming my name, and then silence. A profound, absolute silence that was not an absence of sound, but a presence of stillness. The pain was gone. The fear was gone. I was pure consciousness, floating, observing my own body lying there, a pale and lifeless vessel. I watched as paramedics rushed in, their movements frantic, their voices muffled and distant. I saw the paddles placed on my chest, my body convulsing unnaturally. Once, twice, nothing. I heard a voice say, "Time of death, 11:42 a.m. I was dead. The enemy we are all fighting is not death. Death is a doorway. The true enemy is what I call the illusion of the separate self. It is the most ancient and powerful lie ever whispered into the soul of humanity. It is the lie that says, "I am me, and you are you." It is the lie that says, "My God is the real God, and your God is a false idol." It is the lie that builds walls between hearts, between nations, and between a soul and its creator. This is not a philosophical concept, it is a spiritual virus that has infected our collective consciousness. Asterisk. Asterisk. The hidden mechanism of this enemy. Asterisk. Asterisk is that it operates through names and labels. It takes the infinite, unnameable, radiant light of the divine, what the Kabbalists call the asterisk, Ein Sof asterisk, the endless light, and it forces it into tiny man-made boxes. It calls one box Judaism. It calls another box Christianity. It calls another box Islam. And then it convinces the people inside each box that their box is the only one that matters, and that all other boxes are a threat. It turns a symbol of truth into a weapon of war. It turns a holy book into a legal contract for exclusion. It turns a prophet of love into a mascot for a team. Asterisk. Asterisk. The cost of surrendering to this enemy, asterisk, asterisk, is the world you see around you, a world of conflict, of hatred, of wars fought over which name for God is the correct one. The cost is a life spent in a spiritual prison, defending the walls of your cell instead of realizing the entire universe is your home. It is the tragic irony of arriving at the end of your days, having spent your entire life polishing the bars of your cage, only to realize the door was never locked. It is the quiet desperation of a soul that knows it is infinite, but lives as if it is finite, small and alone. But what if I told you that the code to shattering this illusion was embedded in the very first words God speaks to Moses? In the book of Exodus, chapter 3, Moses stands before a bush that burns but is not consumed, a perfect metaphor for the divine spark, the asterisk nitzotz, asterisk, that exists within all things without destroying them. And Moses asks the question that has haunted humanity for millennia. Who are you? What is your name? He is asking for a label. He is asking for a box. He wants something finite, something manageable, something he can take back to the Israelites to prove his authority. And God's response is the key that unlocks everything. He does not say, I am the God of this tribe, or I am the God of that religion. He says, Ehyeh Asher Ehyeh. This is often translated as, I am that I am. But the deeper meaning, the Kabbalistic secret, is this: I will be what I will be. It is not a static name. It is a dynamic, unfolding, infinite process of becoming. God is not a noun. God is a verb. God is the becoming. God is the unfolding. God is the process itself. The Torah reveals a profound secret right at the beginning. Any name you use for God is, by definition, a limitation. Any box you put God in is a prison of your own making. The true nature of the divine is nameless, formless, and present in all forms. The God that spoke to Moses is the same energy that animates the entire cosmos. It is the light within the Christian, the Muslim, the Hindu, the atheist. The names change. The light is one. As I floated in that silent, timeless space, a light appeared. It was not a light you see with your eyes. It was a light you feel with your soul. It was a light made of pure, unconditional love. It was more real than anything I had ever known. And from this light, a presence emerged, a consciousness. I did not see a face with a beard and white robes. That is a human projection, an attempt to fit the infinite into a finite form. I perceived a soul, a brother, and I knew, with a certainty that transcended all logic, that this was the soul known to the world as Yeshua, as Jesus. There was no judgment. There was only a profound sense of welcome, of homecoming, and he communicated to me, not in words, but in a direct transmission of truth. The message was this: the Father and I are one, and so are you. He showed me the great tragedy of humanity. He showed me how his own life, a life lived to demonstrate the indwelling of God within man, had been turned into another wall, another source of division. He showed me millions of souls praying to his name, while forgetting the God that lived inside of them. He showed me the pain of a teaching of radical unity being twisted into a doctrine of exclusion. The revelation was not that he was God. The revelation was that the same divine light that he called Father was my Father, your Father, our Father. The breakthrough was realizing that the argument between the Jew and the Christian is an argument between two children of the same parent over what to call their father. That night, when the doctors, against all odds, managed to restart my heart after 5 full minutes of clinical death, I was not the same man. The certainty was gone, replaced by a vast, loving wonder. The arrogance was gone, replaced by a deep humility. I had not changed my religion. I had been given back the true meaning of it. I had been shown that my mission was not to prove that Judaism was right, but to show that the love at the heart of Judaism is the same love at the heart of everything. Now, let me give you the practical application. I call it the One Light Protocol. It is a 3-step process to dismantle the illusion of the separate self and begin to live in this state of unity consciousness. Asterisk, asterisk, Step 1. The Morning Declaration of Unity. Asterisk, asterisk. Every morning, before your feet hit the floor, before you check your phone, before the world floods in, you will close your eyes and say these words aloud. There is only one light, and I am a ray of that light. The person I will judge today is myself. The person I will love today is everyone. This is not an affirmation. This is a recalibration. You are consciously tuning your frequency away from the static of separation and tuning into the clear channel of unity. You are reminding your soul of its true identity before your ego has a chance to put on its costume for the day. Asterisk, asterisk, Step 2. The practice of seeing the spark. Asterisk, asterisk. At least once during your day, you will consciously choose one person, a stranger, a coworker, a family member, especially someone with whom you have difficulty, and you will look at them, past the personality, past the history, past the labels, and you will silently say to yourself, "The light in me recognizes the light in you." You will hold this thought for just 5 seconds. You are not condoning their behavior. You are not ignoring injustice. You are training yourself to see the divine spark, the asterisk nitzots asterisk, that exists even in the most challenging of souls. This practice, over time, will rewire your brain. It will dissolve the walls of judgment and build bridges of compassion. Asterisk, asterisk. Step 3. The evening release of names. Asterisk, asterisk. Before you sleep, you will take a moment to reflect on the day. You will bring to mind all the labels you operated under, your profession, your nationality, your political affiliation, your religious identity, and you will consciously, lovingly release them. You will say, "Tonight, I am not a Jew, a Christian, a man, a woman, a success, a failure. Tonight, I am simply a soul, resting in the heart of the One." This releases you from the prison of identity and allows your soul to bathe in the nameless, formless ocean of the divine. Now, let me tell you about a student of mine, a man named Thomas. He was a devout, lifelong churchgoer, but his heart was filled with a deep-seated anger towards people of other faiths. He saw them as lost, as the enemy. He came to me, full of conflict, after hearing my story. He implemented this protocol. For the first month, he said it felt like a lie, but he persisted. Around day 45, he had a breakthrough. He was in a grocery store and saw a woman in a hijab. His usual reaction was one of suspicion, but he did the practice. He looked at her and thought, "The light in me recognizes the light in you." And for the first time, he told me, he didn't see a symbol of a different faith. He saw a mother, tired from a long day, trying to feed her family. He saw himself. That one moment shattered a lifetime of prejudice. His anger dissolved, replaced by a curiosity and a love he had never known. Then there was Maria, a brilliant lawyer who defined herself by her success. Her identity was partner at a top firm. She implemented the protocol, specifically Step 3. For weeks, she struggled to let go of the label. It was her armor. But one night, after a grueling 80-hour week, she finally surrendered. She released the label of lawyer. And in that moment of release, she felt a peace she hadn't felt in 20 years. She realized her worth was not in her title, but in her soul. Within 6 months, she restructured her relationship with her firm, taking on a role that gave her more time, more peace, and paradoxically, more influence. Now, I know the objection that is rising in your mind, because it was the very fortress I had built around my own heart. But Rabbi, my scripture, my tradition, says that my path is the only true path. To accept other paths is to betray my own faith. I understand. I have lived and breathed that belief. But here is the truth you must grasp. A diamond has many facets, but it is still one diamond. Each facet reflects the light in a unique and beautiful way. To say that your facet is the only one that matters is to deny the beauty of the whole diamond. Your path is your facet. It is your unique and sacred way of reflecting the one light. It is not a betrayal of your path to admire the reflection from another's facet. It is an act of worship for the diamond itself. The Torah is my facet. It is the most beautiful, profound, and powerful reflection of the divine light that my soul has ever known. But my experience taught me that God is not contained within the Torah. The Torah is contained within God. Stop believing that honoring another's truth diminishes your own. The opposite is true. The more you can see the light in all its forms, the brighter your own light will shine. So here is my challenge to you. For the next 21 days, you will commit to the One Light protocol. This is not a game. This is the most important work you will ever do. Here are your 3 immediate, non-negotiable actions. 1. Write down the 3 steps of the protocol and place them by your bed. 2. Identify the person you will choose for step 2 tomorrow. Choose someone who challenges you. Courage is required. 3. Tonight before you sleep, perform step 3 and feel the freedom of releasing your labels, even for a moment. And here is a bonus tip for those who are truly ready to leap. Find a text from a spiritual tradition that is not your own, the Gospels, the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita, and read 1 page, not with the intention to debate or convert, but with the sole intention of finding the light within it. You will be shocked at what you find. And now, I want to end with a blessing. May you be blessed with the courage to look beyond the walls you have built. May you be blessed with the wisdom to see the one light that shines in a billion faces. And may you be blessed with the peace that comes from knowing that you are not a drop in the ocean, but the entire ocean in a drop. I am praying for you. Shalom.